thank you for coming. We appreciate it. We have Christine.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, so super easygoing. We like to have fun and have an open conversation.
Nice.
And would love to really get into like what you have going on in the real estate market. But I think a good place to start would be to go through your background.
Sure.
And we'll just jump right in if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And real quick, you recently got elected on the board of realtors, which was a big deal.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Re-election, yes.
Re-elected.
Right. Awesome board of realtors, yeah. It was tough.
And you said you had a lot of votes.
I did.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Second highest. So
congrats.
I'm very proud of that. Worked really hard for it.
That's cool. Well, let's back up a little bit. Okay. And if you don't mind, kind of as much as you want to go into as far as how you got to where you are today, you know, even where you grew up if you want, and we'll just kind of jump in and talk real estate.
So my parents, we immigrated from Vietnam, but I'm actually Chinese, born in Vietnam. And we came here, we was part of the whole boat. And so we got on the boat, escaped from Vietnam, bribed I wouldn't say contractors, but it would be, I guess, whoever's monitoring that. Mm-hmm. And then so we stopped by Malaysia. Mm-hmm. My brother was born, and then we came straight to Austin because we already had family here.
How old were you at this time?
4 years old.
4 years old, wow.
Yeah. So you went from, you said China to Vietnam?
No, Vietnam to
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
And then to Austin.
Then straight to Austin.
Wow. Do you remember much of that?
I don't.
4 years old? Yeah, I wouldn't for sure.
Not at all. And I was kind of thinking about that. I think my only memories is from probably maybe second grade. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what that means. Maybe that was hard, you know.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I can't remember very
much.
Memory. I do too.
Well, I'm curious. You said escaped Vietnam, so they wouldn't let y'all leave.
Well, around that time, it's like the communists, right? And so if either you escaped or you bribed, and so it's the only way you can get here.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So we're very fortunate to be in America and coming here with really nothing.
Wow.
Nothing at all. So.
And your previous family that was already here in Austin, they had left recently beforehand, or?
Yeah, they escaped about a year before we did, a couple months to a year, and then came straight here too. And same thing, they bribed someone to get there. But it's kind of a long journey. It's crazy because you have a lot of pirates that come in and rob and rape and take whatever they want to take. Wow. And so it's just hearing these stories from my parents, I can't even imagine. Maybe that's why I have no memories.
Maybe. Do you know how long of a process?
The journey?
Yeah. Like time frame?
I really don't. I want to say, probably a couple of weeks. And then there's refugees camps set up. And then I think you're going to have to get a sponsor. Like someone's going to have to sponsor. Usually your parents. Usually family or like a local church or something. So.
Wow. Do you know why? Because doesn't Texas as a whole have a lot of Vietnamese community here? Like Houston, for example. Do you know why Vietnamese, escapees came to Texas?
I think just trying to have a better life. As far as like Asian population, Houston has the biggest number, and then Dallas. But Austin, we're still relatively small in our community, but we're super tight though. We do have a Chau community that I'm super proud to be a part of too, and many of us are like family, and so we're all here.
That's cool.
Do you know why Texas as opposed to any other state though?
I think. I'm not really sure, but I know that you're always going to land wherever you have family or you have some kind of roots. And so, because you come here with nothing, right? And so you probably most likely, probably was something with family.
And it started, you came to Austin.
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I've been here for a while.
It's probably another conversation, but thinking into like your memories, I wonder if there was like something you could tap into to like have something pop up that you remember. That'd be pretty crazy. From that. Because it's obviously a massive experience.
Right.
There's got to be something in there that you can tap into.
Well, I know my parents, can't speak English, and so they share a lot of, because of me being the oldest of 4, they share quite a bit with me, and so I think that just encouraged me to work as hard as I can and be where I'm at now, just to be able to support them. Because you hear a lot about the stories and just all their struggles. It's pretty sad.
Are they here now? Awesome. What do they do?
Most of my family is in Austin. We, our family's in the restaurant industry.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of our lives we've had a restaurant.
That's cool.
Yeah.
My dad is dating a girl named Young, and she's from Korea.
Oh, nice.
And she has a restaurant, and she's opening another one in Killeen.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
In Austin? Or?
Actually in Killeen.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
And I've kind of got to experience that world a little bit, but you're right. It's a really tight-knit community. Yeah. I went to H Mart with her, and like she knew everybody.
Oh, really?
it was fun.
Yeah, the Korean Mart, the society, I think we all have our little groups, and we're usually pretty close. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Got to stick together, right?
Absolutely. It's all about family.
What restaurant does your family own?
So my husband and I and his family, we own like Nikon Bistro on William Canyon and Brody. Mm-hmm. And then my brothers own like a few pho restaurants. Do you know what pho is? Mm-hmm. Okay. So come by and check it out.
I definitely will. And your parents owned a restaurant too growing up?
We did. So most of my aunts and uncles owned restaurants. And so that's all we knew how to do, right? You work hard. You don't really have to, you have to understand English, but you can open up as long as you can cook, manage the cashier. Mm-hmm. And so, all of our lives we've had a restaurant.
Awesome.
I wonder how challenging that was when they first got here, like just even getting a lease signed or something like that with just like, being new to the area and the language barrier. Imagine it's massive.
So my dad was saying that he started off, washing dishes. My mom was just like the daily like cleanup around the restaurant, and then you just kind of move up. Mm-hmm. Then the owners see that you work hard, right? They're like, oh, okay, well let me show you how to cook, and so that's how my dad started cooking.
Is there an entrepreneurial spirit within that community that, like, do most people, like your family and friends, like want to have their own businesses?
Absolutely, yeah. I think. The main theme is working hard, saving money, and making sure to just try to provide for your family. Right. You could give them a better life than what they had. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, I never saw my parents. I was the oldest, and I just remember them leaving, closing the door, and that's it. I just take care of them, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm sure it's a lot more safer than it is now, right? Can you imagine 4 young kids at home probably get in trouble by somebody, right?
Right.
So, so I don't remember eating a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I probably did. Obviously in my life, right? But I don't have a lot of memories of that, and it was tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So walk us through, like, grew up in Austin, went to school here. Like, what does that progression look like to kind of where you're at today?
Sure. Went to William B. High School. I went to UT for a couple years, and then my family expanded, and we had like 3 restaurants, so I took a break to run the family business. And then after that, I got into real estate. Nice. So,
and what got you thinking about real estate, and how did that kind of process start?
Yeah, my dad, because my parents can't speak English, and so our family, we started in the 80s, started flipping restaurants. And so at a young age, I was already looking at contracts, translating, didn't even know what I was doing, really, negotiating deals, because I was a translator, right? And so I would, and it was much easier. Now, these leases are thick, but it used to be just, one page, give me $50,000 and you get everything, right? So simple. And so, I was already doing that a lot of times. I was doing that for my aunts and uncles too, translating for them. And then with our 3 restaurants, again, we started flipping them. So at one point, we didn't have any restaurants. And so my dad was like, hey, why don't you get into real estate? Because you like to wear nice clothes, drive a nice car, and, just talk about real estate. And so, yeah.
Wow. And flipping the restaurant was buying it, making it operate more efficiently, changing the menu, all kinds of stuff like that, and then just selling that business plan to someone else?
Absolutely. So, the restaurant is just so hard, right? You open from morning to night. Most of the time, you stay there the whole time. It's very high fixed costs. Mm-hmm. But if you can make it, and there's a threshold of number, the majority of that's going to be profit. Mm-hmm. But you just have to get through your fixed costs. And so we would just accidentally, again, the restaurant industries are super small. Whenever someone wants to sell, it's not like on the MLS or something. It's a lot of word of mouth. And so they'll say they want to sell. And my parents were, I guess, ambitious. And so we knew that we had good food. And then they would have me, and all my brothers and sisters would work there too. And so they, we get an opportunity. We buy it for, say, $50,000, and then we'll come in and change up all the food. Sometimes we might keep the name, sometimes we won't. And then we change it up and then get the numbers up, just like in real estate, in duplex. Cool. Yeah, and then we'll flip it for like 100 or something. So, that's pretty good back in the day, right? Like 50,000 back in the day, and 100.
At what age were you doing this? Like
flipping restaurants and stuff?
Just kind of, where you were pretty involved, like reading the contracts. And
I was. So I've been working hard at 11 years old. So watching.
So you got your master's degree early on.
I did.
Right? I mean, did you learn a tremendous amount about business by doing that?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember waking up and then the whole restaurant would be full of guests. It's so embarrassing, right? Because can you imagine a child just waking up and the whole restaurant
sleeping?
Yeah, sleeping on the floor, and I'm waking because you sleep anywhere, right? And so I would wake up and I would be so embarrassed because everyone's just eating their food. They don't. And so I was like, okay, at least wake me up next time, Right. I mean, if it's busy, wake me up so I can help you. And actually, I don't,
Wow. Well, I can only imagine that probably instilled a crazy amount of work ethic in you.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It's true. Yeah. I mean, I work every day. Every day I work. And so, yeah. I mean, I think it's just responsibilities, just being responsible, and especially to your clients and then to my family. And so
it's not really work, though, when you look at it that way.
I think it's super fun. I mean, on my real estate side, I do have a bunch of licenses, and I just got them just to be able to provide more value to my clients. But yeah, you're right. I do have lots of fun with it. So yeah.
I don't know any other way to describe it. People always ask, what'd you do this weekend?
Yeah.
Or, I always say work, but it's really not work. And I don't know any other way to describe it to people who don't enjoy working.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's super fun. I mean, now I have kind of a stream of out-of-town clients. And so I do about 2-3 tours a month. In fact, I have a client coming in right after this to show them a few days. And then I have another one about the same time. And so it's kind of crazy. I always tell them to give me enough time, but it's just whatever, we're at their time, right?
Sure.
At their beck and call.
So you'll go show them like 10, 15 houses over a couple of days span, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're just looking for investments.
Okay.
About cash flow, mainly. And then, everybody has different goals.
Sure.
And so.
How do you kind of view that as far as, we're in a very competitive market. I call it Opportunity City.
Absolutely.
Opportunities everywhere.
Right.
And you're right. Everyone has different goals on what they're looking for. But what do you see your clients or most people buying as far as investment properties? Are they just buying for the appreciation? Are you finding the really good deals? What does that kind of look like?
That's a good question. So it all depends, a lot of my clients they just want to break even, right?
With
cash
20%
flow
down, break even.
Well, duplex 25. Sometimes, I set expectations with them that it's going to have to be more, 30%, 35%, and they have it. I think if you just set good expectations with them at the beginning.
That's a good point. Because we even had a client one time that we were going to do some stuff with that was wanting to do 50% down.
Yeah.
But he was going to get bank financing, so his interest rate was going to be 5.75, something like that.
Okay.
And even that was hard. That was a challenge.
Right.
So it is super competitive. Is that what most of your clients are doing, or is it mostly investors that you're
mainly
buying?
Investors that I work with right now? But most of the times when I do these tours, I don't really get a deal until maybe 1 or 2 years later. It just depends, because a lot of them are just interested about Austin. They hear so many stuff about it. They know this is the place to be, but before they dump $500,000, $1 million, because usually these are the big players that come in, and they'll spend a few days with me, and then they do so much homework. I mean, they're telling me about stats. I'm thinking, oh gosh,
and it's all cool.
You're like, yeah, I knew that.
All referrals, and they're they're very knowledgeable about the market because they're studying so much, and so
that's cool.
They really
and
appreciate
you're
us.
just trying to like you said, have that 1 year, 2 year mindset. So when you tour, you're just trying to show them that, you're trustworthy and you know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And maybe you'll get a deal right now, but
right.
That's not the expectation.
Right. Because most of the time they'll come in and they'll see something and then they don't really understand how aggressive our market is. And so they have to lose 5-8 deals. And then, so most of the time my clients don't ever see anything. They come here and really, for me to kind of show them my experiences, that I know the city, that I know my information. And then you're right, you build that trust. Because otherwise, most of the time, it's sight unseen.
Right.
I mean, you see pictures, but sometimes it's not a good reflection of what the property is, right?
Yeah.
And so just building that trust with them, and it takes some time.
It does. And that's one of the biggest things that I always preach about and talk on is like the long game and consistency.
Right.
And not a lot of people look at it like that. They're like,
right.
I'm doing this tour, I got to get a deal done. And they don't follow up 6 months later, 1 year later, 2 years later, 5 years later.
Right.
But that's really important. And I think they're missing the big picture when they're not thinking like that.
Right. And I think just having many years of experience on us too really kind of helps to get
true.
that flow.
Yeah, and it's easier
right.
when you're already closing deals from a year ago or
right.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with commercial, right? You and the restaurant industry, but you work so hard and it just takes a lot of time to kind of get there because the process takes so much time. It's so much due diligence. And then, anything could kill the deal. And so I think you just have to be able to, set right expectations with them. And they know that too.
How have the restaurants been doing through COVID?
We, I think, trying to make it, right? I think the bars are really struggling more than restaurants. Right now we're at 75%. Right now, I mean, at my restaurant, it's hard to open dine in because I don't have enough staff. Everyone's getting some money off unemployment still. And so, the restaurant is tough too with tips and if you're not having good flow of clients coming in. So for us, we're still doing takeout. But I think everyone's just trying to adjust right now and trying to just get through it.
Are there things that have happened that have forced you guys to like innovate or like move quicker on things you maybe would have done 5 years from now? Anything like that?
You mean like in the restaurant?
Yeah, I don't know enough about that industry, but I know that that's happened for a lot of industries like real estate and...
Right. I know for us in the restaurant, luckily we already had a delivery presence. We were already kind of working with different delivery groups. And so that still kind of made our that section stronger because that's really your only option at one point. And so, just rethinking about scaling down, how to, what we need to do with marketing and just investing, making sure to keep the kitchen staff. It's hard to keep kitchen staff too because they're always moving around a lot too.
Why is that?
It's tough hours.
Yeah.
It's really tough hours, right? You open at 11, you have to get there at 9:30, 10. You close at 10, you don't get there out until 11 because you have to clean everything.
Right.
And that's depending on when you take your last customer. And so, it's just people get tired, people get burnt out. That's why we try to try not to let them work a full day and give them that's why sometimes you see restaurants close in between. It's just because to give the whole staff a break for 2-3 hours, go run some errands and come back, right? And then for the full-time hours, you just see you have a smaller group.
It's crazy. I mean, one of the last jobs I had, I was working at a country club in the kitchen, and I'm not a cook or anything. I was actually hired on as a dishwasher.
Yeah.
But the head chef, a friend of mine, said that I was the best employee because I came to work every day and on time.
Right.
That was all he needed. He didn't need any experience. He didn't need anything else but just someone to come to work. And there was a ton of turnover every couple of weeks.
I think that's with everything too, just being able to be open, being able to be trainable, right? Sometimes we even have agents who are like, just listen to us and you'll be good. And so we just need somebody trainable. And that's why at the restaurant you get moved up so quickly. Whether you go to dishwasher and then if it's busy, you kind of jump to different areas to help with there's just so many different ways that will help. Yeah.
So you wash dishes?
Yeah,
I did it too.
A few different times.
I did too.
I actually prefer washing dishes than being on the line.
Really?
I did not like being on the line.
I enjoyed actually because I was in college and I would turn on my headphones and just crank out dishes.
Nice.
Well, dishes are great, but the line is a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
What is preparing the food?
cook line?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so like expediting or, putting the orders together. Because when the order comes in, you have like the appetizers, the main entree, the desserts and stuff. So if you're on the line, then you're kind of controlling, kind of like a contractor, controlling that whole flow and telling everyone what to do. That's what I did a lot.
I was on the cook line. So every order that come in, and then it just keeps printing.
Right.
Ticket.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
It's like that first, it's just that rush for an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's just like your life is like in chaos. And then when it's over, you're just like, just breathe.
Yeah, it's intense.
Go grab a beer.
This is a random restaurant, but Alex and I both love Nancy's Sky Garden. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't. Where's that at?
I'll have to take you sometime. It's
Okay.
in Round Rock. And I
Nice.
still don't really understand what kind of food it is. Do you?
Fusion?
Yes, it is some fusion.
I love it. It is like, the plate comes out and it looks super simple, but it's really, really good.
It's Asian,
Like home cooking?
Asian
Home cooking?
fusion of some
okay.
sort.
I'll take you sometime.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's really healthy stuff. I mean,
We got
Awesome.
like sweet potato noodles and smoked salmon and like it's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
trying new
Maybe
restaurants.
you'll get some inspiration from it.
Yeah. Well, I don't cook. I don't cook, right?
Well, for new business ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
Who do you get to do your because you don't run the restaurants, right?
No, my husband does.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
get your husband on this.
Yeah, we're looking at locations right now to try to find something else too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I think you get more profit when you have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because it's the
The-
same amount of work.
economies of scale on the, like you were talking about, your fixed costs kind of go down a little bit per location.
Absolutely, yeah. Because sometimes you can move staff around. You can buy more stuff in bulk, right? And then you can prep things if there's the same concept.
Do y'all own the real estate that your restaurants operate out of?
No, we did have one that my dad owned. That was nice. And then he sold it. Actually, I wanted to buy it myself, but then we just didn't want it to get messy. Sometimes with family deals,
Sure.
So kept it separate.
So we're big believers in being entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
We've got construction, management, brokerage, wholesaling. Obviously, you think that way too, but
Absolutely.
are you constantly thinking about new things, or is it like, let me just nail down the restaurants and nail down my brokerage, and that's my 2 things that I want to focus on?
I think, you have to diversify your portfolio, right? And so I have the property management, I do have a mortgage license, I have the restaurant, we have stocks. You just have to diversify everything.
Nice.
And so you don't get so stressed out when the economy tanks and you have different sources of income to help with that. But yeah, absolutely. Anything that, is going to make a profit. And now it's all about partnering up, right? So, because we can't oversee everything 100% all the time. And so, I think if we have a good, strong partner, because kind of what you're doing, which is a great concept,
Right.
partnering up and being able to still influence, but then not have to be there the whole time.
Right.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So if anybody got ideas, call me.
We may have a couple.
Yeah,
Okay.
we always got new ideas.
Okay, but I have, let's share ideas. We should do like a mastermind of
We'll
stuff.
get your husband. We'll all go to Nancy's Sky Garden and brainstorm.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, so I guess where you're at right now, like what is your big focus? Getting on reelected to the board, obviously you said takes a decent amount of time. Do you have a process for yourself as far as, you wake up and you do this, and that? I don't. I know it's very important. I think I'm trying to get there, but do you have something like that? And if not, what does it look like for you?
I think, for me, I'm just a one-woman show, right? I have 2 assistants that does the property management side. So, like every day, because I'm so involved with so many different part of the business, it's like putting out fires for me. And so I'd love to partner up with somebody to try to, manage that. And so what I do is I usually get up between like 4 and 5 every day. And then kind of younger, I was just rush, get ready and out the door. But now I kind of like have to put on makeup because I'm older now, right? Like crazy without it.
Oh, whatever.
It takes you like 30 minutes now to get ready instead of like 15, you know. And so just waking up, taking my time, you know, really living off my calendar. I never really understood that, but I do, and I set alarms for everything, and then just making sure that I make my appointments, and I'm usually early. So
nice. Is it a lot of like new people you're meeting or existing clients? Like,
yeah, mainly referrals. So usually what I do is probably a lot less now because of COVID, you know, pandemic. But usually every lunch, I try to do some kind of business lunch or a connection.
Never eat alone.
Yeah, I can eat alone, you know.
Well, there's
but right, or drink alone, right?
A book or something. Yeah, there's some concept. Never eat alone. It's like always be meeting new people.
Yeah. So usually I do like a business lunch every day, and then I before I wouldn't come home, but I'd come home pretty late. So I usually try to make family time for dinner, and then but yeah, I mean, I think it's just you have to really be out there, putting yourself out there and meeting new people and, you know, getting new perspectives to really kind of make it. Otherwise, you just get stuck in your group and it's not going to work.
Always thinking creative. Like we just had our team training and one of our agents, Doreen, somebody posted on Investor Underground and said, will anyone do a discounted lease listing? And 9 out of 10 people just say, whatever, move on. And Doreen reached out to him and she said she did a discount lease listing and now they're buying 2 properties every year.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, that's so awesome. I don't know. I just thought of that because you're probably this way. Like when you're out having these meetings and talking, you're always kind of thinking, where are opportunities? You know, you're essentially what I say, we're hunting. Right. Right. And so you have to just be thinking like that. And not a lot of people want to, you know, message the person that wants a discount lease listing.
That's true.
But I respect it. I'm like, great work, Doreen. That's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to get it however you get it, right? I know with especially investors, them coming from different markets like California, you know, their rates are a little bit different, and every agent's going to have their own pricing per their company, right? And so I think, you know, I get negotiated all the time. Hey, Christine, would you do this? Christine, would you do that? And sometimes I do it, and sometimes I don't do it. But I think for me, especially being an investor, it's really about the long term. It's not about this one transaction.
Right.
I mean, I might take a loss, especially in leases, because it takes a lot of time. But I would do it just to, you know, have a relationship with them and hopefully get referrals. Yeah,
you got to just have that balance. You know, obviously I hate like when someone calls me for management, and they're like, "What's your fee?" Right. It's the first question, and then I understand that's important, but there's so much more to talk about.
Absolutely.
And same with like, you know, will you list it at 5%? It's like, well, what if I could get you this price?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you said, you got to just balance it the best you can and jump in and sometimes hold firm where you know you have to, stuff like that.
Well, you have to know your value, right? I think
that's a good point.
Being a seasoned broker, right? I can say, you know what, I'm not working on. I mean, I do work on Sundays, but you know, setting limitations, having office hours. But I think when I was first starting out in real estate in 2002, I was doing real estate everywhere. I mean, I had referrals in San Antonio. I drove to San Antonio. Nice. I had to join their MLS. Did I make that much off that deal? Probably not. You know, I went to Houston. You know, a lot of my business was in Houston because, you know, went to UT and had friends there. I mean, it's just, I worked really hard, you know, at the beginning because the first couple of years, if I didn't have my restaurant, there's no way I would have been able to make it in real estate. All I did was take classes. But you just got to work really hard and stick with it.
That's a good point because we talk about it all the time. Like, because my mom was a single mom and she ended up doing really well. And I always say sacrifice. Like real estate, you can do anything you want if you're willing to make sacrifices.
Right.
And it's easy to gloss over sacrifice.
Right.
But we've all done it. Like it's hard and it's no joke. And it's not missing a call for 5 years and responding every second. And, you know, people wanting to go out and you have to cancel or whatever it may be.
Sure.
That's a challenge. And I still have it to today. Everyone's like, why are you on your phone? It's like, well, I'm working.
Right.
You know, I'd rather not always be doing this, but this is what you got to do to close these deals sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I'm very grateful that I have my husband to really support me and then my in-laws too. So I've always had a lot of, even young, I had a lot of support, but then they allow me to work these 18-hour days or whatever it is. And so I'm really grateful for that, for sure.
That's big.
Yeah. The family thing's huge.
Yeah.
On the investing side of things, where are you primarily focused there?
Almost anywhere, really. It's all about the numbers, right? Not doing a lot of Austin because the numbers doesn't make sense. And so these past years I've been in Georgetown. I'm in New Braunfels. And a lot part of the domain area if it's in Austin.
Nice. Residential, single family, or
duplexes. I'm a big duplex house. That's mainly what I usually try to push for, just for cash flow. And then, but I noticed a lot of the West Coast, they like a lot of single family homes. And so, I've been doing a lot of that too. But it just depends. Single family homes, you don't cash flow that much.
No. Just like more restaurants, the better. More units, the better.
Right. Well, you need to set expectations with them that they're going to have to put a heavy down, but then the good thing is that we have great appreciation.
Yeah,
that's the only way.
One of our guys, Andrew. I mean, I helped him buy like 2 duplexes, and in the last year or two, and they've gone up a lot. Like he bought a duplex in Georgetown for $260. It was really nice.
I know which one that is.
Do you?
Nice.
I guess we moved quick on that one.
Yeah. Well, it's all about, with these investors, I probably have 10 for duplex, but you can only represent one at a time. And so.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's fun, at least with multifamily, I talk about this too, is if you get on there's probably 80 listings on all of MLS.
Right.
And that's in a big radius. If you really narrow it down, it's like 40 or 50, and so it's easy to stay on top of it and know all the new ones that come out. How do you balance that? Like if you've got, and maybe you don't have this, but if you had 5 or 10 investors that all wanted a duplex and one comes out, do you send it to all of them, or how does that?
I think with your investors, just knowing your clients, you know how some of them, after having conversations with them, they can be more aggressive than others. And then everyone's time frame. So it just depends. I kind of put people in different buckets or different groups. Okay, this group can move fast now. But, it's hard because sometimes I feel like, dang it, I should ask Matthew instead of Alex, because Matthew would have just done whatever I told him to do or it just depends. But I think working with relationships wise right now it comes down to big time. Just like a commercial.
You want more Matthews. You want more.
Yeah.
Do whatever I tell them to do.
Yes, if only they listened. We should have gotten 30,000 instead of 25. No, I'm just kidding.
This is one thing I'd be curious on your thoughts, because I've thought about this a lot, and because we do some wholesaling.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I had this idea, and I've done it, but if one comes out duplex and you know that someone's going to buy it,
right?
Yourself putting it under contract and having the buyer is your name and or signs.
Okay, right.
And then just if you have one of your client that wants it,
sure,
transfer it to them at the same price,
right? And
you just make the commission.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a big value add because you locked it up for them. Sure. And if they don't want it, I guess you could drop it, but ideally, it's you only do that if you feel like it's pretty solid.
Sure. Well, that's how the wholesale business is, right? They buy low and then they try to get somebody to, that's why they have these, I guess, not open houses with those emails. How many do you get? A lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're not a great deal these days.
They're not. You're so right about that.
They're not a great deal.
Most of them.
Right.
It's weird. It's like, these aren't off market.
Right. No, because before, but the good thing about these wholesale, I feel like if you have a client that's do a buy and hold, it's perfect for them, right? Because they buy it and then, they have to fix it up and they hold it and it's fine. But if you want to flip it, I think it's going to be tough. Yeah. Unless your client is fine with 10%, 8% or something.
Right.
It's a lot of work.
If all the numbers are accurate.
Right. It was a lot of risk. You never know what's going to happen. And that's why I don't do that with my out-of-town clients. No way. Because one bad deal, most of the time it's not our fault, right? But the deal happens and stuff happens. And I don't want to lose my client over that for sure. Yeah.
So what about for yourself right now? Like, what are your biggest goals right now with everything that you have going on?
Since I'm having a lot of more out-of-town clients, so maybe just changing my business model a little bit. It's just so aggressive. It's so fast now, this market, and just really kind of thinking about what's going to happen in the next few years. I have a lot of, just like I'm sure you do too, a lot of clients on the sideline that has some money just waiting for the market to slow down, but I just don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
Yeah, there's no way. We have too much great stuff coming in and developing, and we have an amazing restaurant scene now, and so yeah, it's going to be aggressive.
The jobs keep coming. The demand is there. Everyone's fleeing certain states.
For sure.
Joe Rogan's moving here.
You say you're, how it happens. You say you're on the sidelines, just waiting for the market to crash. And you say, well, shit, I've been waiting for 3, 4, 5 years now. Let's just buy.
Right.
This can keep going up, and then boom, it hits. And you buy at the top.
Well, that's why you have to diversify your portfolio.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I tell people always ask me, when is a good time? And I always tell them, whenever you're ready. Whenever you have that down payment, let's do it. Because when we start buying property, at that time, our mentality was, it's expensive. It was still multiple offers, not as aggressive as now. Still multiple offers, too late in the game. But now that we look back on it, I mean, our whole portfolio has more than doubled.
Yeah.
And so now we kind of looked back and said, we should have bought everything. Right? But you never know. I mean, when you're ready, you have that down payment, you're ready.
Well, and two, when you're buying on the numbers as well, when you're, not over leveraging yourself or buying at market value, but you're saying, hey, this duplex will provide me this return.
Right.
It doesn't really matter if you're buying at your numbers, right?
Sure. I think just working with a good agent, having a good relationship with somebody that's really going to put your interests and be able to help manage their properties too. That's huge. Mm-hmm. That's the main thing with my investors. That's how I'm able to get all of my clients, because I do property management too, and that's not something that I wanted. That off the bat of my real estate career, that's what I wanted. It's just I had an investor ask me if I would manage it, and I said, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's the saying. They say nobody picks property management; it picks you.
Yeah, it's a tough. That's why our phone rings all the time, and I don't sleep well when it rains, when it's cold outside, when it's hot outside, because those phone calls are coming in. Well, there are issues.
But so is that monthly money.
Yeah, I mean,
how many doors do y'all manage?
We have about 122 right now.
Nice,
yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah.
Have y'all experienced any issues with tenants during COVID and not paying rent? And
absolutely. I think when this whole thing kind of started, I knew right away that I need to really, really focus on the property management side, like really be in good communication with the tenants, like really talking to them, and I always already set expectations with the owners too, letting them know that, hey, right now we're going through a rough time. Be prepared that you're going to get prorated rents, that you're not going to get, might not get the whole thing at the same time. As a business decision, I waived all late fees until January. And I told them that, I was like, please just communicate with me. If you're having issues, we're going to work it out together. Mm-hmm. And so I think out of, not too bad. I mean, we have some late clients and stuff, but mostly I have one. I'll be honest with you, I do have one eviction that I need to get rid of this dang tenant. But I can't believe I just said that, but whatever.
No, I feel the same way.
I mean, I'm just like, God, when is December ending? So
we got a few too.
We decided we're just gonna file it for sure. Continue and just be kind. I've had a few where I just let them out of their lease. I mean, I'm going to take your security deposit, but
that's the thing. I agree. I'm actually convinced. I don't know if this is, I haven't thought through this completely, but like 80 or 90% of all the problems are from communication errors.
For sure.
That's right. Like in the world, I think. And it's like,
yeah,
like you said, if they just communicate with you and tell you what's going on, there's a really, really good chance that you'll work with them. Even if it's like their rent's $2,000 and they're paying you $200.
Right.
At least they're going to respond and do what they tell you.
Yeah, right? For sure. I mean, every single time we find new information about rent assistance, or, I mean, we send it to them. We send it to them, let them know that we're waiving all fees. Just please communicate with us. Mm-hmm. And so usually my 2 assistants will take care of that, but I always give them my direct line that they ever need something to call me. And so I get, phone calls all the time, and so, yeah, I think just talking to them and really...
Yeah, because when you don't hear from them,
it's death.
You get scared.
Something's happening.
Like, I had a girl that and I don't really like doing these things. I'm like, let's just give them time. And my wife's always like, no, evict them. And she's usually right.
Right.
But I would have literally like given this girl money to move out.
Right.
And because she didn't respond, we had to evict her, and now she owes us money. And got a credit hit. It's just, I just throw that out there because not always, people don't always realize that, but just communicate and just be real.
I mean, absolutely. I think for me, I do take it very personally. I take them like my own tenants too. So a lot of times if I don't hear from them, I'll show up at their door. I mean, I have my assistants leave personal notes to them all the time and just tell them,
hey,
oh yeah.
I mean,
at the beginning of my career, and I do it sometimes too. I always get my contractors to go with me, you know, to knock on the doors. And so they always laugh. And they're like, okay, come on, Christine, let's go. But yeah,
Your enforcers?
Yes, I will knock on your door. I will like bug you or call your mama. I don't know.
Look at every number. I see you.
Yeah.
You got to sometimes.
Yeah. It's fun. I do like that part of it too.
It's been crazy. I mean, this year we had 2 tenants that didn't pay us rent, and they owed us total about like $10K.
Yeah.
Between both of them.
Sure.
One of them ended up leaving, and then the other one started paying up after we,
send them those letters and stuff.
Yeah,
those notices.
Threatened to evict her.
Sure.
But it's been crazy, and it's actually, now if I had any fears about investing in real estate, I don't anymore. Going through COVID, tenants not having to pay rent.
Sure.
That's a good point, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like nothing's gonna
face you now.
Jinx ourselves. We didn't expect COVID, but it's been a weird year.
Sure.
But now our properties are turning around, doing much better, and I mean, we're excited to see that deposit last month come to the bank account.
Yeah, and to start doing some refis on some really good interest rates as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think just offering them solutions and stuff too, and the main thing is communication. You're right. That's the number one.
Yeah, and I do maybe to a fault, but I just take the best from people and believe in them. And like we had this one girl, and the day after Trump announced that there was another extension.
Oh, right. On stimulus.
She was like, screw you guys. I'm like, God, we could have evicted her like 2 weeks before that.
Sure.
Legally. But I was like, let's try and work with her.
Right.
And then she literally was like, screw you. I'm like, God.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, you have to get your owners on board. And I always talk to them like, seriously, hey, this person's not paying. Let's just let them out of their lease. We're probably going to have to do repairs. Right, but at least we have their security deposit, which is not even close to anything. But I mean, just letting them out and just getting rid of that and starting over with a new tenant.
I would have happily done that. This lady, she really bothered me. She had a full-time job. She had plenty of money coming in.
Sure,
and I would have let her out of her lease.
It's
right
just misunderstandings of how it all works. I think with the tenants, like they don't realize that you can be let out of your lease. And Lexi had somebody last week that the owner was trying to move back into the house because they just trying to move back in, right? And he offered the tenants like $4,000 it was a pretty good amount to move out.
Sure.
And they came back and they said $5,000 for each tenant.
Oh my gosh.
Like, really?
I had a situation like that recently.
And my point was like,
no.
You just think that because they own the property, they've just got $20,000 sitting around.
Right.
It's like what?
Right.
Of course.
Well, and they may, but it also doesn't make sense to pay $5,000 per person.
No.
Right. Well, I mean, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, that could be $20,000, right? I mean, a lot of the owners, some of them are free and clear, but mainly a majority of them have a mortgage on there. And it's tough because, that AC went out earlier this year, or having to pay commissions to release. I mean, it's a lot of money up front for them. It's tough being a landlord.
Yeah. Remember when you poured bacon grease down the sink, clogging up our pipes? Right.
Yeah. Tenants are crazy. I mean, some of the buyers and sellers are crazy.
Yeah.
Just got to work with it, I guess.
We're all a little crazy.
I think so, for sure. I think you have to be crazy to be in this industry, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Well, is there anything you see in the market that's unique right now with everything that's happening as far as just any major changes? We've kind of seen, Alex brought up, like, we feel like it's a new ball game. And we're excited about that. Like, we have challenges just like everyone else does.
Sure.
But we don't even worry about complaining or anything. We just look at it like, what are the new opportunities here?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a blessing, right? I think agents, you really got to step up your game. Can't be lazy. You have to work hard at it again. You can't assume, I've lost some clients before too, because, now I'm traveling a lot and sometimes, they'll tell me, Christine, I feel like you're kind of too busy now.
I've had that too. It sucks.
Yeah, you're too busy now. I see you traveling, and this is why I gave it to another agent, or you're too busy anyways, or something like that. So I think just again, it comes back to communication, and just don't assume that just because they've been working with you for a long time, they're going to be with you forever.
Right.
It's not going to happen because you have another agent.
What do they say? There's a
mailing
quote,
stuff to them.
It's like success isn't owned, it's leased, and rent is due every day.
Yep.
I like
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good one.
You know what I mean? I mean, no matter what, you got to keep putting that time in.
For sure.
Cool. Well, I know we all got busy days today. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or bring up?
No, I had a great time. Thank
awesome.
you. Thanks for listening to my story and everything. And
it's inspiring. We have people from time to time, and you're definitely one of them that you could have every excuse in the book of why you couldn't do things, but it seems to me like you don't choose to think like that, and you've overcome. And to me, it's just a testament to hard work can accomplish anything you want. I mean, you literally came here, didn't speak the language, your parents didn't speak the language. Now you own properties and restaurants and manage properties and very successful. So that's inspiring. And
thank you.
Yeah, so that's part of what this is about, is like getting these messages out to people. We have fun doing it. We also get to know people a little better, but we appreciate your time. And,
thank you so much. This is super fun.
Thanks for coming. How can people get a hold of you if they think you might be a good realtor for them?
Sure. Mainly text, because I do get quite a bit of a phone call. Nice. In fact, I'm thinking about changing my voice mode that says text only, please. But you definitely call me at 512-293-2700.
Awesome.
You can always
heard it here.
Yay.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Christine.
Thank you.